Chapter 3. The rundown exterior of the airplane hangar, emblazoned with the word Senpai's Metal Shop, clashed with the fine specimens of refined vehicular elegance parked outside. Of course, Nick's Maxima and Johnny's Ninja 250 were present, but joined today by Ian Sell's Dodge Neon with vertical lifting door mods, Ford Knight Toyota Tacoma Itasha, and Nietzsche's lowered street racer Pontiac Sunfire. The large space was crammed with an array of machinery. Sections of seaplane were suspended from the ceiling, while several metal propellers were fastened to the wall. The area could be called a perfect blending of Dark Age meets the Industrial Age, a steampunk shrine to horsepower. All that was missing: goggles and bowler hats. Nick was eyeing a large airplane engine, as the other Expendabeards lounged around the heavy-duty machinery. He said something like the population of this island's around 5,000 or 6,000, no more, droned Nick, perfectly recalling the details of the island statistics. Ian took a puff of his e-cig, looked at Dankoff. How many soldiers? How the fuck should I know? Nick's reading the briefing. At most, only a couple hundred. Barely triple-digit kill counts for each of us. Wouldn't take much more to control a place like that, said Nietzsche. And they're most likely not well trained. You don't know that, shot back Ian. Well, I surmised. God. Ooh, sounds crazy, Oni-san, said Ford before dipping his spoon into his bowl of gumbo. Sounds like Oni-san's gonna get all our tail shot off. Fucking hate this. Nietzsche steepled his sausagey fingers and closed his eyes before responding. Their problems shouldn't matter, 'cause we have our own set of problems. And either you get rid of them first, or they get rid of you. Your therapist tell you that? Son, this morning. I thought Uwood wouldn't have to go anymore, Ford asked, seemingly puzzled. Well, it's not my fault. I've got APB. Avoidant Personality Disorder. He's starting to sound more and more like Linkara. The rest of the group stopped to stare at Nietzsche as he moved his arms through the motions of the... I don't know what that is. Asanas? Social inhibitions, sensitivity to criticism, and so on. Everybody's got problems, Nietzsche. You're an unusual guy with an unusual job. It's not your fault. When you say unusual, you mean I'm the shortest and fattest one here. I've got the longest middle finger of anyone here, and you know what that means. Uh-huh. Anyway, Ian and I'll be heading to Atlanta to see what's what, and how much of a pain in the ass this job's gonna be. How much are we getting paid for this anyway? Nick pulled out his phone and pressed the contact for Mr. Johnson. Let's find out. Elsewhere, in the back of a black government sedan, Johnson's phone rang. Speak. We're going to Valletta. 5 million. 1/2 up front. Get serious. Get me 5 million. The rest of the team watched with palpable excitement. 2 million. Fuck off. Get someone else. Fuck you, said Johnson, gritting his teeth. I'll text you the account number. Your balls aren't that big, Baird. You'll get yours one day. This world's afraid of me. I've seen its true face. The streets are extended gutters, and gutters are full of mud. Fucking Rorschach. They'll foam up around their waists, and the whores and politicians will look up and shout, "Save us!" And I'll look down and reply, "Fuck you if you don't want to drown, it's 5 million. And with that, Nick hung up. He pressed send on the text message with his personal checking account number. The team looked to one another smiling. Sound of fingerless leather gloves slapping together and a round of high fives echoes through the hangar. Chapter 4. The wings of the large Grumman UF-26 Albatross seaplane wobbled as Ian struggled to keep it lined up with Valena's seaport. Ocean spray arced beside the plane's large pontoons as it dug into the surface of the water. Nick and Ian lurched hard in their seats, and the plane rapidly decelerated about a mile from shore.
Look how far away we are. I can't believe you know how to fly. My dad owns like a dozen planes. I've been flying since I was 10.
Ian said as he redlined the throttle.
We'll get up there in a second.
The engine strained and whined, and the plane pulled closer to the island, eventually easing down to drift at an open dock. Each section of the floating dock bowed heavily under the weight of the two men disembarking from the plane. The light breeze off the water did little to diffuse the cloud of body odor seeping from their leather trench coats as they made their way to a dilapidated building marked Customs Office in Spanish and English. The raven-haired young woman behind the counter couldn't help but stare at the two gringos dressed head to toe in black who sauntered in from the blistering tropical sun. She took their offered passports and scanned the information. "What is the purpose of your visit, Senor Bard?" The counter groaned as Nick leaned his bulk against it.
You know, you can just call me Daddy. It's the natural order for all girls to love their daddies.
Oh my god, this shit's gonna kill me. The customs agent straightened up and resisted the urge to gag as the smell wafted past the plexiglass divider. She thanked God she kept the odorous gringo from getting any closer. "Senor, I don't think you know what you're saying."
"I know that you'd be my little princess. And if I'd known I'd see you today, I would have brought you a rose."
The customs agent shifted her attention back to his passport, briefly considered rejecting his entry, but decided it would be just easier to let him through and turn him loose on the rest of the island. With the quickest, most efficient stamp possible, she slid his passport back under the divider and said, "Welcome to Valena, Senor Bard." The streets of Dante's city were wrapped in an oppressive blanket of old sweat, shit, and fear, now mingling with the beard's body odor and Ian's vape pen. Nick and Ian stumbled along over old cobblestone, frequently checking their printed Google map with the meeting location for the local contact. Nick's frequent withdrawing and replacing of the map dramatically inside his coat, combined with the copious sweat coating his hands, had turned it into a sodden rag of blurred ink. Loud honking drew their attention. Two military jeeps, followed by an open-back military truck crammed with 20 hardcore soldiers, rumbled along the narrow main street. The soldiers wore dark red berets, signifying they were part of Dante's brutal Red Guard. The country's new flag, an image of General Dante, flew from the corners of the hoods of all their vehicles. The depressed, intimidated locals listlessly moved aside as the convoy approached. The two army jeeps began blasting their horns again. Ian took another pull off his vape pen. The Beards observed 4 American operators, dressed in khaki as they passed into view of the lead jeep, followed closely by the second, driven by Payne, Alpha riding shotgun with his slick-back hair and a pair of aviator glasses, exuding power and menace. Across the square, an old man was struggling to push his rickety cart full of junk out of the way. He was stuck in front of the troop truck. Horns blared and men were screaming. He stood there petrified. Troops leapt from the jeep and berated the old man. Payne stepped from his jeep, Desert Eagle glinting in the afternoon sun, held tight by his conspicuous shoulder holster. His thick hand carried an equally thick, short black club attached to a leather strap. Payne motioned to the soldiers, who commenced shoving people aside as he yelled, "Get this bitch dick out of the way before I punch out all his teeth!" and then smashed the old man's cart. Alpha watched coolly. The terrified locals shared in the man's misery, but were too terrified to show any outward emotion. Payne started to climb back into the jeep when an older woman suddenly started to yell curses at him. The soldiers rushed forward and commenced roughing her up. Payne leapt back off his jeep, grabbed her and flung her against a wall, cursing her nose to nose.
"Ought to slash your throat like a train full of swords."
Alpha reached over to honk the Jeep's horn, grabbing Payne's attention. He let the old woman drop and stormed back to the Jeep. In moments, the convoy is back up, underway. Ian looked at the departing vehicles, took a long drag off his vape, and then muttered, "That old bitch got fucked up."
"Yeah, her fault for not getting her dumb ass out of the way,"
said Nick as he went back to looking at his printed map.
Fuck, I think we have to go up there."
He pointed up a narrow, inclined cobblestone alley. And we'll find out if they make it in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. If you would please, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have your own story to send in, you can send it to r/Moonhorse Stories. I check it every day. And if you'd like to keep the lights on in this place so I can keep doing this, you can do that by donating to Patreon or by buying something from the merch store. Links to all that and more are in the description of this video down below. Every Saturday there's a live stream, and I look forward to seeing you there. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye!